William, a poor young man struggling to make ends meet, found himself at a crossroads. With mounting debts and no stable job, he saw no future ahead. That was until he met Evelyn, a wealthy widow twice his age. A plan formed in his mind: he could charm her, marry her, and live a life of luxury. Evelyn, though much older, was kind-hearted and lonely. She fell for William's charm and generosity, believing he was genuinely interested in her. Little did she know that William's intentions were far from pure. He was fixated on her wealth, viewing her as the ticket to a life he had always dreamed of but never could attain on his own. William's plan unfolded flawlessly as he convinced Evelyn to marry him. The wedding was modest, as she preferred a quiet life, but it didn't bother him. In his eyes, it was the key to securing his future, no matter the simplicity of the ceremony. As they exchanged vows, Evelyn's eyes were filled with love and trust, while William's thoughts were on the bank accounts he would soon have access to. His heart felt heavy for a moment, but he quickly brushed it off, reminding himself that this was his only way out of poverty. Now married, William moved into Evelyn's luxurious home. At first, he was thrilled by the change. The large house, expensive furniture, and abundance of food were things he had never experienced before. He convinced himself that he had made the right choice. However, living with Evelyn wasn't as easy as he had imagined. She was affectionate and eager to spend time with him, but he found himself growing restless. While she was deeply in love, he felt trapped, longing for the freedom he once had. The life of luxury started feeling more like a golden cage. William soon discovered the true extent of Evelyn's wealth, including her investment properties and savings. The thought of it made his heart race with excitement. He knew he could manipulate the situation to access even more of her fortune. But there were moments when Evelyn's sincere love and trust made him feel guilty. She treated him like a king, always putting his needs before her own. Despite his original intentions, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt as he continued his charade, wondering if he was crossing a line he couldn't come back from. As time passed, William's eyes wandered to a young waitress, Emily, at a cafe he frequented. Emily was beautiful, lively, and close to his age, the complete opposite of Evelyn. William found himself drawn to her, feeling emotions he hadn't felt for Evelyn. He began meeting Emily secretly, using the excuse of work and errands. For the first time in a while, he felt alive again. His affection for Emily grew stronger, and he started considering a future with her. But there was one problem: he was married to Evelyn, and he needed her money. Caught between his desire for Emily and the comfort of Evelyn's wealth, William decided to play a dangerous game. He kept his affair hidden from Evelyn, who was blissfully unaware of his betrayal. Each day, he found it harder to maintain the act as he juggled two lives. Evelyn, meanwhile, continued to trust William completely. She had no reason to doubt him, and he used that to his advantage. But living a double life was taking its toll. He was constantly looking over his shoulder, fearing that one day, the web of lies he had spun would come crashing down. One evening, William returned home late, smelling of perfume. Evelyn's suspicions, which had been growing for weeks, finally reached their peak. She confronted him, asking if there was another woman in his life. For the first time, William felt a pang of fear, realizing how close he was to losing everything. He managed to convince Evelyn that she was overthinking things, reassuring her that his late nights were for work. She seemed to believe him, but he could see the doubt lingering in her eyes. William knew he needed to be more careful. The life he had built on deception was starting to show cracks. Emily, unaware of the full extent of William's situation, began demanding more from him. She wanted a future together, and she was tired of their secretive relationship. She insisted he leave Evelyn and build a life with her instead. Caught between his feelings for Emily and the financial security Evelyn provided, William found himself cornered. He promised Emily he would leave Evelyn soon, but he knew deep down that he couldn't afford to do so. His greed had trapped him in a situation with no easy way out. As Evelyn fell ill, William was forced to care for her. It was then that he realized how deeply she truly loved him, relying on him in her most vulnerable state. Her trust and affection stirred something within him that he hadn't expected: regret. Seeing Evelyn's frailty, he began to question his choices. For the first time, he saw her as more than just a source of wealth. Guilt weighed heavily on him as he wondered if he could ever make things right after using her for so long. The love she had for him was something he couldn't buy, and he felt ashamed of himself. Faced with a decision, William knew he had to choose between the life of luxury he had always wanted and the truth. He broke things off with Emily, realizing that chasing his desires had led him down a destructive path. He made up his mind to be there for Evelyn, not out of guilt but because he had grown to genuinely care for her. As Evelyn's health improved, William took on the role of a devoted husband. Though he had started the marriage for the wrong reasons, he found himself wanting to earn her trust for real. The journey had taught him a valuable lesson about love, loyalty, and the true cost of greed. End of the story. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to Tales of Mame Campbell channel for more heartwarming and motivational stories.